No?
Okay. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Just a Tip.
Two tips this time.
It's just two of us, like old times.
Old times.
We've got the fern in the back that has grown.
Grown very well. Daniel has done a very good job at watering and loving the fern.
Nourishing the fern.
Daniel's a good nourisher. If you don't know Daniel, he knows how to nourish.
That's a lot.
And let me just dive in real quick.
Okay.
Another company that's very, very good at nourishing are our boys from
It's
Sweat
Sweat
Ethic, who are sponsoring this episode.
And all the episodes, we've just failed to it. We've failed to talk about them last couple times.
The ice bath had me, I couldn't think straight.
Delirious.
So I apologize, Sweat Ethic.
Yeah, we
But
went
they
off
are
track.
sponsoring, and I do want you guys to know, upcoming, we have an awesome electrolyte blend coming out from them that tastes delicious. So for all of my clients, I've been prescribing them an electrolyte blend that we get off of Amazon, and their feedback is it tastes like shit.
It's like salt.
It's like
tablets.
salt. Yeah,
awful.
it's just a scoop of liter salt, and it's very terrible.
But this tastes like a little fruity treat.
A little treat. And tell the people about the protein powder.
Ooh, yeah. So they just dropped it today. Fruity Pebbles flavored protein. So it tastes like Fruity Pebbles milk. It's cash. We had some
It's a gem.
samples. It's so good.
So
And if you don't like cereal milk,
you're a fool.
foolish.
We don't like you if you
Yeah,
don't like
it's
cereal
gross.
milk. So our boys over at Sweat Ethic, we appreciate you guys. And for the people that have not been involved with Sweat Ethic,
You're
you're
fools.
fooling around.
Just
So,
straight fools.
Come into our shop, try out their products. Our most popular seller, Vitagreens,
For sure.
multivitamin, prebiotics, probiotics, digestive enzymes, cash.
And greens.
And greens. And a
Cash.
full serving of greens.
All right. So today we want to talk about something that bothers us. We see it a lot every day at the store, actually,
Probably solid 4 or 5 times a day.
at least. It is the chronic dieters, like never ending dieters, right?
And-
is that the best way to explain it?
Yeah, and I mean, that can go in multiple ways, whether that's being in a massive calorie deficit or bouncing from fad diet to fad diet to fad diet to fad diet to shitting all over yourself to then back into a fad diet.
Yeah. So yeah, like for example, we've talked and we've addressed this in previous episodes,
We're going to go more in depth.
but we're going to go a little harder today. Like for instance, like keto, you always hear someone saying, "Oh, I just got done doing keto." Or like, "Oh, I did keto once." It was never like, I'm continuing this as like a lifestyle.
Yeah.
And there are people that do that but it's rare.
And their knowledge as far as nutrition goes is probably far more in depth than the typical Joe Schmo that's reading online. Fad diet, jump on board.
Right. Because it's usually like, "Oh, my uncle, he did keto, lost 100 pounds. So we just started. We don't really know what we're doing, but we're just not eating carbs and, eating a lot of butter." And it's like, that's not going to work, guy. Like,
And they failed to mention that their uncle has now put on 200 pounds and has the beatus. They forgot to mention that part after the fact.
because as he lost his 100 pounds, say here's fat and here's muscle. They both went down to make up that 100-pound loss. And then when he gained the 100 pounds back, it was straight fat. So now his body composition was even worse than before, which is very exciting.
Not ideal.
No, it's not ideal. It's trash.
And honestly, it's quite the shame. And I know that Morgan posted up something about it earlier, but guys, these people that are pushing these fad diets, they're making money, and they're making shitloads of money.
Oh, yeah.
They come up with the concept, they develop a product that feeds into the concept, and they make millions of dollars
Right.
off of your lack of knowledge in regards to how this affects the body.
And outside of like, Mediterranean diet, keto, paleo, all these named diets, like
Atkins.
we're talking like 12-week shred. No, not even 12-week shred. 4-week shred.
Yeah.
You're right. Or like get shredded in 4 weeks. get beach body ready in 8 weeks, right? And they sling up some sweet before and after pictures, and they're just cashing in hard. But after the 12-week shred, what are you doing? Because it wasn't something that was realistic. You go right back to your old ways, gain all the weight back, and then more confusion, more chaos, more misery, right? And now the only thing you know how to lose weight is calorie restriction, tons of cardio, crazy workouts, and then what, right? Like, what's going to be the long-term effect of that if you can stay with it?
Yeah.
Like, tell the good people what happens when you're putting your body through that long-term.
So first off, for anyone that has been in this constant cycle of caloric restriction, and then, maybe you come up in calories for 3 or 4 weeks to go through your bulk or your muscle building phase, and then you dive right back into a deficit. The more times that you do this throughout the year, your body recognizes that. Your body will throw up red flags. So now when you dive into a deficit again, your body instantly throws up a red flag and says, no, we're not doing this again. I know what you're putting me through. We're not going there.
Right.
And so it will literally shut you down and you will not see results. And that's why, a good majority of my clientele is middle-aged women that have been chronically dieting for years on end, cardio through the roof.
Right.
Which, when you're in a calorie deficit, when you are doing tons of workload, your sleep goes to shit, everything starts to, kind of get out of balance.
Right.
Your cortisol goes through the roof at all times. Your adrenal glands start to shut down, which then from there, it downstems to thyroid issues, which then downstems to every other hormonal imbalance you can think of.
Right.
And you wonder why you're not losing weight. It's because you have set your body up in a hormonal and poor metabolic state that it is not going to respond.
Right. And, those little quick shreds or quick weight loss programs are just long enough to where it's like, okay, you've got max results on that extreme caloric deficit and extreme lifestyle that, like, the 12 weeks or whatever, however many weeks it is, it's up right as your body's about to just crap out in general.
Yeah.
So it's like you thought, oh man, I just got such good results from that. There's one out there right now, I can't remember, but you're eating 5 feedings a day, which I like.
The bars.
Yeah, but it's like, but they push like, no, you only have one meal. You have one meal with some protein and a green. And then the rest is our nutritious bars and shakes that are complete dog crap, by the way. The macros on them suck. The only good thing with it is a structure of eating 5 times a day.
Yeah.
And so when someone comes with that, I'm like, okay, we can work with that, but you're going to be eating like 3 times what you were eating. And it's the opposite mindset, like have a bar and shake in a position where you don't have time for food, right? But you're pushing whole food always, right? Yeah. Any diet that's like, no, have the supplements and then the meal, run. Like, that is such a scam.
And I for whatever reason, I'm blanking the name of it as well. But that being said,
Metafast.
That's one. There are a few of them.
That's one of them.
But I have had.
Sorry, Metafast people, but I hate it.
You're blowing it. And not to mention you're spending $400 a month for shit.
But if they are eating their 5 meals a day, they're on the right track.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. But when it does come down to that chronic dieting, for those of you that are in this position, you've got to take a step back. You've got to recognize that calorie-wise, you've got to bring those calories up. So if you are in a position that you are generally sticking at, let's say, 1,200 calories, which I would say is a pretty good base for most women trying to drop fat.
Right, that's a pretty common number we hear is 1,200.
Which, give or take, I would say the lowest end maintenance for a female is going to be like that 1,500 calorie range, probably even more if you're working out. And this is based off of a small individual. So, if you're a 160-pound woman, your maintenance calories are going to be up around 2,300 calories. Right. So if you've been in a position, you're at 1,200, we got to bridge that gap and start slowly bringing you back up to calorie maintenance. Now, That doesn't mean that I want you to go from 1,200 up to 2,300 overnight.
No.
We step that up, maybe 200 calories every 2 weeks and get you back up to maintenance. And you're not going to gain a bunch of weight.
Right.
And if you do, well, you're not going to. But you might see the scale trickle up a little bit.
Right.
But it's all with intent to progress down the road.
Right. And I think something that, at least what I see, is people cannot grasp that concept of I've got to eat more to lose. Because all you hear is calories in, calories out, calories in, calories out. And so you're like, well, I'm just going to have a little less calories, work out harder. And you're like, oh, well, I'm starting to plateau. Better cut calories lower, work out harder. And what they don't realize is they're slowly slowing down their metabolic rate to survive. Because if you're in a 1,500 calorie deficit every day, your body is smart and it will adapt, but it adapts by slowing down all of the processes that are happening: hair growth, nail growth, cell turnover in general, digestion, everything. And then in the meanwhile, you're creating this hormone monster of mixed signals, because you've got signals telling your body to repair, signals telling your body, oh, we don't have enough food, we got to slow down. And so what you find is you have no energy, you feel like crap, and you're plateaued. And the only way, like Dane said, to get out of that is to slowly increase calories to where you're at. Okay, sure, you can be in a deficit, but you've got to get to a maintenance calorie before you start cutting down again, right?
Yeah, and
to get that metabolic rate back up.
And you want to look at this from a longer term perspective. So if we're looking at this for true long-term benefits, you want to spend more time throughout the year at maintenance or a surplus than you do in a deficit. So for everyone that has been in a deficit for months on end, you've got to reevaluate. You want to be in a position that you come up to maintenance and a surplus for, seriously 6 months at times,
right,
to where you're building lean muscle tissue and you're not going to put on a ton of fat. Like, yes, little bit of fat is going to come because of a caloric surplus. But if you're in the gym working out hard, that's going to be fueled for muscle growth. And if you have more lean muscle tissue, that fuels more fat loss. You speed up your metabolic rate. Your body has to maintain that muscle tissue, which means you burn more calories. So it sets you up for when you dive into a fat loss phase. Now we can cut calories a little bit, and it's not a 1,500 calorie deficit. It's a 500 calorie deficit, and you're seeing that body fat come down, And then during your maintenance or surplus, you bring cardio down quite a bit as well. So if you were doing 6 days of hard cardio, let's scale that back to 3 or 4 days and let the body recover. Again, so when we dive into a fat loss phase, now we can implement cardio, a small deficit, and your body's going to respond.
Right. But that is good. That is the biggest mind game.
Yeah.
Anyone doing this, like, I promise you, if you've been doing it wrong, doing it right is the biggest mind game. Especially, and something I want to address too, though, you talk about, getting into that calorie surplus or just getting into maintenance calories and slowly increasing calories. You can't just increase calories in general. You have to have your macros in line, like your protein, fat, and your carbs in line for your body type, for your workload, and all those things. But in general, where most people really crap the bed is protein intake, because protein intake is a huge mind game, because the calories per gram on protein and carbs are the exact same. It's 4 grams. It's 4 calories per gram. And so, but when you're eating a carbohydrate, they just go down so smooth, right? You can eat a sleeve of saltine crackers and crush, 50 grams of carbs, no problem, right? But you wolf down 50 grams of protein and meat, you are full, right? And people just have a really hard time grasping that. When you map out all their protein they're going to intake, they're like, I'm going to get so fat and bulky. And you're like, no. Like, it is protein fuels hair, skin, nails, muscles, tendons, organs. Anything living is from protein. It's not like you eat protein, it goes straight to your biceps.
And
that's not how it works.
What macronutrient between protein, carbs, and fats do you expend the most calories burning to break down?
Protein.
So you eat protein, you actually burn more calories than when you eat carbs.
And carbs are great. Your body needs carbs, but they are just energy. Like carbs are energy. And most people, when they're dieting, they live on, America lives on carbs and fat in general, right? It's carbs and fat. Those go together so nice. Like donuts just go down smooth, you know? Like we crushed 5,000 calories in one meal because it was straight carbs and fat.
Granted, I probably had 60 grams of protein in that meal.
Yeah.
But it wasn't good. The ratios were poor.
The 60 grams of protein was, help me with the math here. That was how many calories in protein? That was 240 calories in protein. The extra, 4750, that was all from carbs and fat.
Yeah.
And so you could not eat that many calories in protein. Like your body won't let you. It fills you up. So when you're trying to hit, say a female's, 160 pounds and she's trying to crush 150 grams of protein, it's like you're not going to get that down unless you're eating at least 5 times a day, spaced out around, 3 hours, right? So most people, if you want a long-term, dieting structure that's going to work, you've got to eat multiple meals a day. And that's where intermittent fasting to me makes 0 sense because you can't, it's hard enough to get enough protein in during a full day, let alone, you got 6 hours to get that down.
Now, if you're in a position that you are an individual that isn't necessarily weight training or hitting cardio super hard and you're just trying to live a healthy lifestyle, right? You're not burning as many calories throughout the day, so your maintenance intake is going to be a little bit lower. So in that regard, intermittent fasting, there are benefits to that. But if you are going to the gym, you're working out, you're doing cardio, you live an active lifestyle,
right?
Especially for a male, you weigh 215, 220,
215 on the money.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. So,
denying me.
So your calorie intake, maintenance wise, is going to be 3,500 calories, give or take.
Yeah.
For the typical individual to eat 3,500 calories through nutrient dense whole food sources, good luck doing that in 3 meals, especially if you're trying to hit 300 grams of protein.
Right.
100 grams of protein through a meat source, if you're going 3 meals like that, you're 15 ounces. You're a pound of meat.
Yeah, good luck digesting that.
Yeah, good luck eating that. Good luck digesting that. You're going to cause an inflammatory response through your digestive tract. It's going to compromise your digestion, which means you're not going to absorb a good majority of that protein. It just doesn't make sense.
Right.
So that 5 to 6 eating windows, it's not the only way to go about it, but really it's the only way to go about it.
Long term, it's there's going to be people that argue this. I guarantee there'll be people in the comments you guys, whatever they say. We always get haters. But long term, a forever style of eating, not necessarily, sure, call it a diet, but if you want to do something long term, be consistent. Really, it is the only way.
Yeah.
Especially, because if you're arguing, well, I don't really work out. And it's well, you freaking should. Because if you're not using that muscle, it's going to go away. And as you age, your muscle mass is going to go down.
Now let me capitalize on that. So if you are in a position that you have muscle tissue and you stop working out, your body is only going to maintain the muscle that it needs for the physical demand that you put on the body.
Right.
So if you stop working out, stop weightlifting, your body, it will get rid of the muscle tissue because it's not needed.
Right.
You have to put a physical stress on that muscle for it to stick around, let alone grow. That's a whole nother ballgame.
Right. And then you talk about aging and, brittle bones as you get older. You fall and break your hip. That's happening from 2 things. You have no balance because you have no muscle mass, and your bones are freaking porous because from osteoporosis, where adequate protein, adequate resistance training, that's going to strengthen, your muscle, your tendon, the bones themselves, and you will be able to live and then die, as opposed to, I fell and broke my hip at 75 and then I lived a freaking miserable life for 10 years in a home, and then I died. And it's
Yeah.
like, that makes no sense.
Or even younger. It's just, if you have the muscle tissue through resistance training and proper protein intake, you will fall down. Guess what? Your muscle is going to protect you. You're not going
Right.
to break that hip, and you're going to get up and you're going to go on with your day.
And you might like throw in a little agile step that breaks the fall a little bit so
Yeah.
you don't fall like a lump.
And you look dope going down.
Yeah, like you could be 75 and falling and look cool.
Yeah. And then you get up.
But did you see
looking
that?
dope.
Just walk that off. Get on my level.
Yeah, I actually had a client the other day that said her sister didn't want to do my program because she was against weightlifting. I was like, okay, that's fine, but truly, that's the only thing that's going to fuel longevity.
Right.
I think having muscle tissue is truly the only way to have longevity.
100%.
Because without it, again, these things are going to happen.
And those of you out there that are like, I increased protein once. That could be a guy or a girl, by the way. I increased protein once and I just felt like I got bulky and heavy. What probably happened is you were eating like dog crap. You added protein to the dog crap, put you in a caloric surplus too quick, and you started gaining weight.
Or you
Chances are.
increased enough protein that the demand you were putting on your body, it finally had the nutrient structure to build muscle tissue.
Right.
And so you gained 3 pounds on the scale and you felt a little bulky because it's
Right.
muscle.
Right. Or started weight training and you had some inflammation, some water retention, and you freaked out after a week or two.
All common things we see.
All common things we see. So the moral of this story,
Give your ultimate tip.
ultimate tip, Dane and I know the way.
Come chat with
No,
us.
realistically, I don't know anyone long term that has a steady, healthy nutrition and fitness lifestyle that is not eating multiple, like 4 or 5 meals a day, high protein, and with that structure. Because without it, it's not going to last long term. It will not work. You cannot be in a caloric deficit, a huge caloric deficit forever. That does not work. And you have to have a lot of protein. You have 3 macronutrients to work with. You have protein, carbs, fat. Carbs and fat together, what donuts are made out of. And so if that's what the majority of your diet's made out of, you're going to feel soft, right?
Yep.
There it is.
Beautiful, beautiful. So my ultimate tip, if you have been in the position that you have been chronically dieting for a long period of time and your body has shut down and you're no longer seeing a response, you do not want to cut more calories and increase more workload. That's going to make the matter worse.
Right.
Long term. So come in, chat with us, message us on Instagram, whatever you want to do. We've got to figure out a way to bring calories up, get your body back in a hormonal optimized state, hold that for a while,
Right.
decrease workload, allow your body to recover from a hormonal balance. And then from there, we can start looking at setting you up in a calorie deficit.
Right.
But until then, you are going to be in a position that you're never going to see results.
Right.
You're going to drive inflammation through the roof. You're going to run into digestive issues. You're going to run into hormonal imbalances. And I mean, one other thing I'm going to spew off on that.
Keep going.
Once
This
you
is
get
nice.
into a hormonal imbalance, right? Someone's going to say, go get your blood work done. Have the doctor check it out, which is great. We encourage blood work. We encourage knowing where your body's sitting.
Right.
But if you go into a doctor and your thyroid's downregulated and your progesterone's tanked and your testosterone's tanked and your doctor says, okay, testosterone, progesterone, estrogen, T3 and T4, great. They are taking care of symptoms.
Right.
They didn't fix the root cause.
No.
So that really could be spiraling you downward even further.
Right.
You've got to fix the root cause, which for most of these people in a chronic deficit is stress induced. Fix that first. We will see hormonal balance come back to life, and then we can set up for fat loss.
Right. And with my tip and Dane's tip together, That is the ultimate tip. See you guys.